In 500 feet, turn right onto North Greenwood Avenue.
Hey everybody, welcome back to another self-driving video. Today's video is extra special. I'm comparing the latest version, well it was at the time that this was filmed, 12.5 to 12.4.3 to see how it performs on the highways and city streets. We're going to compare them side by side. I do have a chaser cam. I have 6 cameras filming in parallel. You can see my GoPro hanging up way above my car. This is a really exciting trip. I have 2 gentlemen. The self-driving car instructor, Dale, in the middle is driving a Model S Plaid. Gary on the right is driving his Model Y, following us. And we have myself. I have been testing full self-driving since October 24th, 2021. That was version 10.3, so I have a ton of experience using this software, and I am hearing that 12.5 is a huge game changer. This release is supposed to be absolutely revolutionary. Hardware 3 vehicles are set to get it in 10 days, and that was as of July 29th, according to a tweet or a post from Elon Musk. Really excited to get that update. There have been a lot of people that are on hardware 3 that are really panicking, thinking that their car is suddenly obsolete and that they're never going to be able to operate their car as part of the Robotaxi fleet, and that they're really going to be left in the dust and they're never going to get these latest updates, and so on and so on and so on and so on. Well, guess what? I have some news for you. iPhones get better over time, PCs get better over time, and so do cars. These are smart cars. We have to get used to the fact that old cars are just not going to perform as well as new cars. So what do you have to do? You have to upgrade to a new car. I'm sorry to say, but that is a fact. Now, that does not mean you cannot use your older car and have a lot of fun with it and get a lot of utility out of it. Full self-driving will still be possible. In fact, Elon Musk went as far as saying that all cars pretty much are going to be able to be used with the Robotaxi network. So it is not a moment to freak out and panic over all this. It's a moment to really embrace that technology is getting better over time and that it's worthwhile to invest in a new vehicle from time to time. And everybody needs a new vehicle in their lifetime every so often. Now, used cars are going to come out on the market, and we all know that the resale value drops. So there will be an opportunity to pick up a really great deal when you have hardware 4 cars flooding the used car market in the future. So my advice would be, don't panic about all of this. It's way too early to know exactly what's going to happen, but I, for one, am really excited for hardware 5. I can't wait for that to come out. We're going to have a lot more compute capability there, and really what you sacrifice by having older hardware is safety and smoothness. So don't forget that. Here's what Elon Musk had to say.
Old Tesla vehicles can operate it, or will be able to operate as a Robotaxi, pretty much all. So, but yeah, I think the dedicated Robotaxi will have the single biggest effect in the world.
As you can hear in the background, we're having a little bit of difficulty getting full self-driving enabled on Dale's Model S Plaid. So we end up having to pull over multiple times to try to troubleshoot what's going on. I did end up having to do an ADAS reset inside of the service menu. However, I will say that this was ultimately caused by the GoPro camera covering up the light sensor on the windshield of Dale's Model S. Before we get started, I wanted to mention really quick that I have a brand new rear display screen in my Model 3 in the back seat for my kids to be able to view movies and games while I'm driving, especially on long trips. This is especially convenient. I have a discount code on Hansshow Auto. You can check it out down below. There's a link in the description where you can get 22% off all Hansshow accessories. Highly recommend this rear screen. It's the H86. It's the latest and greatest screen, and it's one cable to control also the front passenger seat. I am a big fan. It took less than 10 minutes to install this thing, and it really helps out for long trips, like I said. Very convenient and a lot of fun to use. Definitely check them out. Before we get started with this comparison, I wanted to show a really interesting interaction at a stoplight with someone that was pedaling for money. It's so funny because he got so distracted by the automation in Dale's Model S that he forgot to ask for money. I thought this was absolutely hilarious. So check out this interaction here.
How you doing, boss? That's a beautiful car, man.
Thank
How's
you.
your ride, man? Pretty good?
Awesome.
Is it self-driven too or
Yeah.
no? Yeah?
Yeah.
How do you do that? You just gotta program it in there or something?
I just turn it on.
No
Drives
shit,
itself.
and it drives by itself.
Yep.
That's freaking awesome. And look, that's a
That's
real
you.
3D, huh?
That's you.
And that's real. That's crazy. Wow. This car is so dang smart, man. I've
Yep.
never been in one before. They look pretty comfortable though.
Yeah, pretty awesome.
Damn, so it's pretty much no stick drive, no reverse stick or nothing.
No.
All right, bro.
Right.
The overwhelmingly important thing is achieving unsupervised full self-driving. But the net result is that it's really starting to become quite compelling, I think, with 12.5. As I mentioned publicly, we've increased the number of parameters by a factor of 5. Like what the AI is trying to do is effectively compress reality. So it's trying to say like, okay, we're taking all this video in, trying to understand reality, but we're trying to compress reality into, I don't know, a few gigabytes is pretty hard. And because the inference computer in the car is much weaker than, say, a GPU in a server center, it's only got like maybe 15 to 20% as much power, so in order to make, if your inference computer is relatively weak, then you have to spend actually more effort on the training side in order to make up for the weak inference computer.
All of this is to say that full self-driving unsupervised is of the utmost importance, but there's some challenges from the engineering side. You can see this light module on my Model 3. It's placed lower down, so I can put a mount here with my GoPro camera, no problem. When I did that on Dale's Model S Plaid, it blocked that light sensor and then disabled full self-driving from being activated. So I had to go into the service menu here.
Reset DAS. I've done this before.
So with all that said, we're gonna get straight into the drive here. Thanks a lot for all of your patience, and now we shall begin.
Little bit of a trick that I learned from AI Driver. You can reset the DAS, and that will allow you to turn it back on. Yes! All right. We are in business, guys. We are in business. We can use it now. All right, we're gonna turn it on. Here we go, guys. His car is too fast. He's showing off now. Stop! You're going way too fast.
The funny part is that full self-driving was enabled the entire time. I had no idea. Now, this has been happening with previous versions of full self-driving. 12.4.3, my version does this, 12.3.6. A lot of versions have been accelerating really quickly, and I think this is coming from training data. Tesla owners tend to like to accelerate a lot off the line, and that is just a common thing with a permanent magnet synchronous reluctance motor in the back, especially if you have two motors. I mean, it's just too fun and too easy to not accelerate quickly off the line. So I just thought that was really funny, that I thought he was trying to show off when in fact the car was just doing its normal old thing.
We're gonna find out here. All right. Coming up here, 1.3 miles. I'm not sure if I think he's got it turned on. I mean, I'm assuming he has it turned on. We will find out in post whether it is on or not, but I'm following closely enough. So at this point, I'm just gonna go ahead and turn mine on.
Just to make sure, I safely texted him to see if he may see it and then let me know that it was on, but I eventually gave up and just turned it on anyway. Dale and I mutually agreed to some conditions prior to this drive. 2 rules. 1, we will not be touching the accelerator pedal, and 2, we will not be using the scroll wheel input to introduce extra speed. Full self-driving is in complete control of our vehicles. We also checked our settings to make sure they were matching, including the automatic speed offset setting being turned on and a 15% speed offset. This ensures the maximum compatibility so that our cars are driving identically. We also confirmed that both cars were driving in the assertive mode.
Mine is going right at the speed limit, 40 miles per hour. His is a little bit ahead of mine. So I'm just gonna go on a leap of faith that he has it enabled and see how well this performs. Now, I am holding up some traffic. It's now getting over into the right lane, but suddenly now it speeds up, which is really strange. Keeping an eye on the turn signal behavior here. Right lane must turn right. Let's take a look at the nav. We will be coming up to a traffic light where we will be turning right. So I am now getting ahead of him. Now it's speed limit 40. Let's see if it slows down. It's going awfully fast. I'm just gonna roll down my window here and give him the thumbs up. He probably doesn't know why I did that, but I did it anyway. My car is cruising ahead. I don't know why it's going 51 in a 40. I don't have control over the speed because it's on the auto max setting. So right there, that is a difference that I'm observing with the auto max speed setting. Mine is going considerably faster for some unknown reason. And I can see him now behind me, and Dale is coming up and turning right here as well. And then we will be getting onto the highway. Really fascinating to see that behavior there on that road. In particular, it's supposed to manage the speed based on vehicles around it and also leverage the speed limit for that road. And mine went a lot faster on 12.43. So that may be a situation that's just for that road. A lot of things in these videos, you can't draw solid conclusions unless you test them multiple times. And before we got started on this ride, we discussed an area where we know that full self-driving has a hard time. And it was funny because I told Dale, I don't know of any spots where it has a hard time on a repetitive basis. And that's just a fact. You know, it performs so well in so many situations that I couldn't think of an area to test that would give us some interesting variety and hopefully some differences in the way that 12.43 performs, where it would regularly make a mistake and then hopefully seeing it fixed with 12.5. Getting over, and again, I'm going considerably faster than him. I have not touched the accelerator and I have not touched the scroll wheel at all throughout this drive. And we're coming up here to this red arrow and then getting onto the highway. Should be interesting. And it looks like Dale got stopped by the light behind us. We have some cars getting off of the freeway. It's unlikely they're going to get back on, so this should allow Dale to catch back up to us, as well as Gary, who's following him. Let's hope that that happens here so we can maintain the close proximity so we can capture each other on film here. Waiting for this light to turn green before proceeding forward. And still quite a ways back there, I can see him in my rear view mirror, which is good. He's not that far behind, but it'd be really great to see how this merge behavior operates.
12.5 is where a lot of things come together, where you've got the high, we upgrade the highway stack to be the latest version. So it's you don't have the old highway stack and the new city stack yet. So having one sort of integrated state-of-the-art stack for highway and city is a big deal.
Elon mentioned that on July 28th, that was this past Sunday. However, that's not happening until later with 12.5. This current release 12.5 and 12.5.1, I understand, are still separate stacks for city and highway. Can't wait till they come together here. Going through the toll booth, no problem, even though we go through a bit fast.
Speeding up, Turn signal goes on, centering ourselves, and then coming forward here. This is really what I want to see, is how it merges onto the highway. You're going to see here that this lane ends, and turn signal went on, 1243, it went on to get over, and again, getting over another lane. I felt that was very well done. I didn't have any issues with that. Sometimes with 1243, it does not turn on the turn signal, and the lines force itself. So again, that's a remnant of the old highway stack.
I fast forward this portion of the highway driving because, quite frankly, they operate identically. I'm going to mention real quick, my friend is in the market for an electric car, and he contacted me telling me he was reviewing the Kia Ioniq 5, and then he was also going to go test drive a Tesla. I told him that for the value as far as the battery range and the technology, you really can't beat a Tesla today. You can see my car zooming ahead there. Gary's doing great with the footage here, capturing both cars. You can see Dale motioning for me to get over. I did have to intervene and turn on my right turn signal because he has a different route mapped into his car. I forgot to reroute midway through the trip, as he had mentioned before we got started, and I didn't know exactly which path we'd be taking anyway. Coming up here, I do have to disengage, and I'm not going to really count that because the path is wrong, the path in my car for the maps compared to Dale's car. But FSD,
It's already getting so good. Like, for example, I have not done a single thing here except for forcing it over to get onto Lake Cook Road. And this is going to give us a little bit more variety. Here we go. Wow, it was really assertive in accelerating. Now, I left Dale in the dust back there, and it looks like he is. So I'm disengaging. I'm going to let him proceed forward. My car was trying to take a different route than his. Interesting. So I'm going to move over to this lane and then engage it again. And we'll check and see the route. Okay, interesting. And my car immediately gets over into the left lane, which is, so this is a fascinating route because now you can see we have some variety. It's going to be going straight through two lights, well, one light and then the second light turning left. It's asking me to pay attention to the road there. Bring that back over. And my car is going 50 miles per hour right now. And it looks like Dale's is going about the same. And I'm very curious to observe, okay, now he's getting into the left lane. I'm very curious to observe any unusual behavior driving behind 12.5 here. Left turn signal went on right there. Let's see, mine is not going on as soon as his. Okay. That was interesting. Now this turn, let's see how 12.5 accelerates through this turn versus 12.43.
overall, these versions are comparing almost identically. I'd really like to hear your comments below. What do you guys think about the difference between these?
Okay, here we go. See how closely I follow him. Okay, he crossed over those yellow lines. I also crossed over the yellow lines. Those turns looked identical. Speeding up here. Looks like the lane centering is identical. Feels very similar, I would say. Makes me feel so relaxed having this on, and it really is true for those of you who have never used this technology before. It really is true that once you use it and start using it regularly, you start to kind of rely on it. You can never go back. I mean, for me at least, that's the situation. I cringe when I have to drive a car manually. And it's silly to say that, but it is true. There are little things that you can do in other cars, like cruise control or smart cruise control, and lane keep, but for the car to do everything, including the turn signals, stopping and starting, for the car to manage all of that on its own, it really provides peace of mind. And it's not that you can sit back and do nothing. You have to monitor the car. It's obviously not perfect today, but it's getting so good now that, especially for situations that you've witnessed before, it may not be the exact same area or the same intersection or same environment with traffic patterns, but you get a sense for what it can and cannot do, and you get comfortable with it, and you start to rely on it more and more. And we're at a point in time now where people are going to start becoming more and more complacent, and I think that's okay, because we're getting to a point, and I think it's going to happen a lot sooner than people think. We're getting to a point where it's going to go from supervised to unsupervised. And I posted something on X recently about how Tesla really needs to release data to show how many miles per intervention are happening, because that is critical to understanding what type of trend we're on. Are we on a linear trend? Are we on an exponential trend? I believe with artificial intelligence, especially as you improve the computational power and the amount of data that you're receiving, I believe that you can achieve an exponential rate of improvement. And that is what I'm really dying to hear and see, because that, honestly, I believe is going to be the case, where we're going to see this software just take off, and it's going to surprise everybody. I think the world is unprepared for what's going to happen here with Tesla's full self-driving technology. It really is. And people just have no idea. For me, driving and seeing how it's operating, it's a different story. I kind of get the behind the scenes access to this technology, and I get to understand that, you know, what its limitations are and how it performs in different scenarios. You can see now Dale is quite a ways ahead of us. I think there might be 1 or 2 cars in between us, and we're getting really close. We're about 4 minutes from our final destination. Going through this light here. So again, I'm super relaxed. I think part of it is because, and it's, you know, if I was in the city, it would be a different story because there's just a lot of unknown. But when you're in the suburbs, it's very relaxing using this software. His turn signal went on. Okay, mine hesitated there with the lane selection. And I noticed his was ultra smooth getting over, no hesitation whatsoever. So definitely better performance there. And coming through here, great. So 12.5 stayed in the far right lane, and now mine is changing lanes here. And I'm just gonna zoom over here to see why. A little bit uncertain why it did that, because it definitely did not need to get into the left lane here.
We have an interesting turn coming up here, but overall I would say both versions performed very similarly. I was impressed with the behavior of both 12.5 and 12.4.3.
So people are coming off of 12.3.6 and they'll be getting 12.5 for the first time. And that is going to be a big game changer for you because of the hands-free steering. It really makes a big difference. Now look at this jog here. I noticed 12.5 did really nice coming through here. Wow, that was a pretty cool little jog in the road. Coming up to this stop sign here, and a full stop. The 12.5 made the full stop, I saw. And you know, okay, let's see. Here we go. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Okay, full stop for me as well. So the NHTSA stops are still in here. But yeah, here we are pulling into our final destination. I enjoyed this ride. I hope all of you did as well. Thanks so much for joining us, and hope to see you in the next video. Again, hit that subscribe button, and we'll see you in the next one.